Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Learn From Us podcast again. Thanks for joining us again. My name is Seth.
Please subscribe.
Paul. Please subscribe. You're already straight to subscribe.
Well, I watch Marty music videos for guitar.
Sure. Everyone says subscribe.
And the first thing he says is please subscribe.
Yeah.
So go on iTunes, go on YouTube, go on everything. Please subscribe. It's how we pay our bills around here.
I've said this
which is why Seth's been wearing the same shirt for 3 episodes.
I've said this 1,000 times. I'm sure my friends, you know who you are if you're listening, that my day-to-day speech has included the name Paul and like what you've done for me and my mindset.
This is awkward.
Tim, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
So now we have a new mic.
We have our producer, Tim.
And assistant producer, Don.
Assistant producer, Don. I want Don here every podcast, by the way. I want him here.
Okay.
That's just it. Okay. I don't know if he wants to be here.
Well, Don's got a lot of things to do anyhow.
Well, one more. Put it on his task list.
Don't make fun of the task list.
But Tim, wouldn't you agree, like, the mindset of meeting this person?
Oh, this is awkward. Can I leave the room? This gets me awkward.
This Iraqi immigrant, this real estate mogul.
With a shrinking portfolio.
Like the idea of what you've done for my mindset. Now, again, listen.
This is so awkward.
You know, it parallels my teachings from Focus 3, which is a company in Columbus about mindset and just kicking ass and being awesome. But changing our mindset. I've asked you before if you've read that book, Psycho-Cybernetics.
Yeah, I have not read it.
About literally telling yourself you're amazing and that your subconscious will start producing more amazing, trying to fulfill this thought process. Hopefully. And you wanted to sit down and talk about this, about changing your mind and changing your mindset. Maybe it comes.
Well, how did the conversation start? It started with Tim, because we were talking about hypocrisy with the new with the Democratic debate last night. We talked about hypocrisy. And then we talked about changing our minds. And obviously all of our minds have changed over the last 20 years. But Tim, what was your example about pay?
So if you would have chatted with me 10 years ago, I would have said, hey, I've been employed here for 10 years.
I did the same thing.
I've not called off work very often. I've showed up. I've given you what I deemed 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
And so because of it, I'm owed something.
A raise.
I'm owed a raise. I'm owed
Groundhog Day.
Whatever it is. And obviously over time, I learned, no, you need to bring value to the marketplace, and that's how you're rewarded. Time doesn't matter. What you did 10 years ago doesn't matter. Yeah. It's what you're doing now that matters. Am I bringing value right now? And that's what I get rewarded from.
So you love the phrase, Paul, when workers say, I hate going to work and making money for someone else.
Yeah.
And I definitely had that mindset when I was working for someone else.
Yeah.
And so Tim, what was
I go to work for somebody else every day too. I've got a lot of payroll to make.
Yeah.
Right. That's just it. And to the risk goes the spoils, right? And it's that whole Ben Shapiro guy when the guy says I'm making pencils and why do I make $15 an hour when they're making all this money? It's like, well, there's risk and all that stuff. But Tim's changed his mind over the last 10 years. And at first, Tim, you said it's hypocrisy. I'm like, well, no, there's a difference between changing your mind and saying one thing and doing the exact opposite.
For sure.
Right? And you change your mind like we all have. Seth, you've changed your mind. I think I've definitely changed my mind on a lot of things. We talk about politics. I used to be Republican. Now I'm Libertarian because I started to realize that. I remember in 2004, Seth, I thought the world was going to come to an end if George W. Bush didn't get reelected. And now I look at elections going, oh, this is adorable. All these people think their lives are going to change because somebody thinks that somebody's going to be in office, our lives are going to change. It's adorable. Now we know it's on ourselves, right? But we change our mind all the time. You changed my mind the last episode, certain words being used. You changed my mind at Macaroni Grill when you said, Paul, doesn't that affects this person? I'm like, oh, shit, he's right. Valid point. There's a big difference between hypocrisy. Go ahead. You're going to say something.
Well, I've probably said this before. I used to think politics were for such intelligent people.
Yeah. Then you realize the opposite.
And now I'm getting to the point where I'm only hearing politics from people that it just seems like such a waste of time.
It is a waste of time.
Like,
in my opinion.
Like we were just talking about the debates and what people said and what they did and what they meant. And it's just like, yeah, like, and then whoever's going to win is drastically going to change. And then I realized like nothing not much really changes, you know.
Yeah, what has changed in the last 3 years?
Well, I challenge Republicans when they talk about,
Oh, vomit! They're going to talk about how Trump's the reason the stock market went up and the
well,
economy.
yeah, I'm just like, yeah, like,
My dad does the same thing.
I'm like, do you even, like, frankly, I don't even really look at my taxes. I mean, I don't have enough money to even know. So it's like whatever the tax guy tells me I need to pay at the end of the year.
Well, would you have an option?
No. So what's the point of looking at it?
No, it's not. Listen, you still want to make sure it's right, but it's not like you're like, that number's too high. I'm not going to pay that much. There's no debate on what you owe.
That's what I mean.
The
So it's
code is the
like-
code.
But I think a lot of Republicans would be like, Republicans I talk to are saying, I'd rather have the chance to spend my money the way they are than have the government take it.
Which
and
I agree
spend
with
it.
that.
And so I've changed that mindset. Like, it sounds lowered. I always took the idea that being Democratic,
Being a Democrat.
being democratic is like taking money and then helping people with the said money.
Oh, that's adorable.
Isn't it?
It's so
Isn't it?
cute.
I don't mean currently.
That's so cute. Oh, the Democrats love helping people.
And then so I was brought up with the idea that if not being democratic is that you just want to keep, those rich white oil tycoons, they want to keep all their money and thus they're not helping people.
Oh, that's adorable.
In fact, I even remember adults when I was younger saying, like, I'm a Democrat because I like to help people.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The Democrats have controlled the inner city for how long, and how has the inner city gone in the last 50 years, 60 years?
Well, that's an interesting thing you just bring up.
God, give me a break.
I was just going to bring up politics. Like, what's the fucking point?
It's about the whole changing your viewpoints based on new evidence. So it's all links together.
Listen, I despise Trump as a human being. But frankly, like this past week, he's been lighting up Elijah Cummings. Is he representative from Baltimore, Maryland?
Yeah, something like that.
He's lighting them up because the city it's just really poor. There's a lot of things wrong. Crime, poverty in Baltimore.
So how is that different than any other major city in the country?
Well,
Chicago's got very poor and bad. It's like this is where it is everywhere. Find me an inner city somewhere you go, that's an awesome inner city.
Well, so I'm not in favor of a lot of the things that Trump does. I don't think he's a really great upstanding guy. I wouldn't want to be friends with him. But then the second is like you have a Democrat holding office and he's criticizing him. Like, instead of talking about everybody else, why don't you go back to the city and try and make your city better? And there are cities that have turned around, crime rate lowered,
sure.
And so so I'm not like changing my mind is like thinking, well, does he have a point? Like, can this representative who's trying to do something, Obama, like people say Obama is from Chicago, but people say Obama is from Chicago.
The rumor is.
But like the crime is so high. And so like.
South side of Chicago.
So does he have a point? Like, does this guy I don't really like that much, does he have a point about like, instead of talking about other things, go back to your city? And because you say this all the time, you say the same thing about Democratic nominees with their taxes. Tell me what you say about them all the time. The hypocrisy.
I guarantee all those Democrats up there who are all wealthy use every possible tax loophole in the world to limit their tax rate. There's a line on the tax return that allows you to give more. 100% is true. Allows you to give more money than you're actually required to give. I would like to see how much any Democrat in the country, the party of we, as they claim, has done there.
I'm not doing it.
We used to have a properties in Shaker Heights, a highly Democratic community. And I was always the one opening my pocketbook up. And whenever I'd ask the community to do it, guess what I got? Paul, we're on fixed incomes. You guys are Shaker Heights. This is a wealthy area. Give me a break. And it always was silence. Nobody was willing to pay any extra money. I'm like, oh, this is so weird because I'm the greedy right-wing asshole white guy. Yeah. And you guys are all the party of we people, yet I don't see anybody writing checks here. This is a consistent thing. This is a very consistent thing. But the hypocrisy is on the right side too, as we joke about how many pro-lifers have had abortions or paid for abortions for their baby mamas. These are just the things that happen out there. Bernie Sanders was all about hating rich people and capitalism sucks, yet he's a multimillionaire. And all you have to do is write a best-selling book, and you too can be multimillionaire. Fuck you, Bernie. But how does this pertain to everything in life?
Yes.
You're going to, over time, with experience, things are going to change your viewpoint. Mm-hmm. That is okay. That is expected. I encourage that if new information has come to the market. Same as in terms of investing. When the market was down, I said buy, buy, buy. Then I got criticisms later. It's like, Paul, only 3 or 4 years ago, you said the market's great, you should buy. Now you're saying don't buy. Well, yeah, because the price has doubled in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
New information has come. New things have changed. That to me is when people, that's to me understanding and learning. You sit there and go, well, yeah, the information's changed. Just like if everybody thought Tiger Woods was this upstanding family man. Then something happened and information changed. And now we realize he wasn't that. Okay. This always happens. It's okay to change your mind. It is not okay to be hypocritical. And when I say that, that's a pretty blanket statement, so I'm even hesitant to say that, but don't say that that you believe in X, Y, and Z, but then you handle your personal self totally different. You know what I mean? That to me is hypocritical. But if you sit there and say, okay, well, I've now learned this about the situation, so I'm changing my view a little bit. Okay, great. Just like me in politics over the last 15 years, I was like, damn, like these guys are all the same people. Republicans and Democrats are all the exact same people. They want bigger and bigger government. Mm-hmm. Neither side wants smaller government. Both sides are selfish. Both sides are very, very selfish. I'm looking going, that's why I became libertarian. But just like in 2004.
So where does that leave you? So you say that, and I'm like, yeah, libertarian, that sounds about right.
It leaves me just griping and complaining about everybody.
Both sides. Yeah, like, you're not, is there a libertarian candidate? Or like,
in 2004, there was a libertarian candidate, Mike Bednarik. I went to a rally of his in Michigan. Have I told you this story?
No.
Oh, okay. So I went to this like rally. And I couldn't.
And 17 other people?
Well, it was actually probably 150 people.
Okay.
He was open to questions. He kept saying, I'm a different candidate. I'm not like these guys. These guys are Republican. So I raised my hand. I have a question. Do you honestly believe that you have a chance to win?
Wow.
That's a pretty bold statement when he was polling at 1%.
Yeah.
So the guy who says, I'm different than these people, I'm always going to give you the truth, everything like that, what do you think he should have said at that rally?
Well, I mean, in all truthfulness, he probably should have said no.
But what did he say?
Of course he said,
if we get enough people out there, we get the message across to enough people, anything is possible.
Well, that is maybe true as well.
That is
not
true.
False.
But is it a skirt around the real issue? That's not what I asked him. I didn't ask him what he thinks could happen.
Yeah.
What do you think will happen?
Yeah.
When you're polling at 1% with 3 weeks to go in the election,
well, yeah.
What's going to happen? You are going to lose, and you're going to lose big time. But his comment was a very, now granted, like you said, well, it is true. It is true what he said. But that's like sitting there saying, well, Seth, if I could just go back in time and start Google, I would be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Of course that's true.
Yes.
But it's not real. And that's where I look at it going, oh, so even the libertarians are the same. It's not, it's politics in general of what it does to people, right? If I was president of the United States, I would be doing things that I don't believe in because you just have to get progress to be made. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why I could never be president of the United States. I'd be like, compromise? What the fuck are you talking about? Compromise?
Well, you also aren't U.S. born.
I know. So. They should have built that wall in 1984.
Yeah.
But either way, but same with the investments though. Like people always say like, oh, real estate's always a great investment. That guy told you you'll make millions and millions. Well, you'll make millions if you buy it right.
Yeah.
Everything is the great investment if you buy it right. Right?
That's true.
As the price changes, your information has changed. So you have to make adjustments to your assessments of the deal. What are you laughing about?
Oh, you drink Coke Zero, then you're burping and hiccuping for mid-sentence through the show.
Comb your beard. I'm just kidding around. It looks great.
My beard gets caught in this microphone.
Because it's like this fuzzy thing.
Fuzziness, yeah.
But I just, we always talk about change. I don't mind changing ideas. Listen, we do business all the time, and one idea we have doesn't work. We go to a different idea. These are things that happen every single day. But it's totally different if we're like, okay, here's the rule, it's going to happen, and then we do exactly the opposite. That drives me nuts. Doesn't that drive you nuts? How would you even live in a society where that happens? Imagine at your home if your wife said to you, like, honey, I believe in being faithful. And meanwhile, she's the neighborhood bicycle.
Yeah. Bicycle.
You know what that reference is, Tim? Put Tim's mic on.
Wow,
Tim, what does that mean? The neighborhood bicycle.
He's holding his head in his hands.
I will pass.
Do you know what it means, though?
I do.
Well, let's say it.
No, thank you.
See, Tim won't.
So
he doesn't even talk about this stuff.
So Mike Williams, my good friend, wrote a joke to us the other day, and Tim did not even respond. Can I say the joke?
I mean, if your reputation's on the line, it's up to you.
Where is this joke? But it's funny because Tim's like...
I guess mine is too.
Tim's a very
if I laugh.
straight and narrow kind of guy.
Go ahead.
What day was this sent? Was it Saturday or Sunday? Whatever it was. Let me look it up. Hang on a second. I know this is probably boring you.
No, I'll fill you in with a pre-joke joke.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is my favorite one of late. So you saw the CNN article about why ducks have feathers recently? It was published last week.
No, I did not.
It's an ancient study. It's to cover up their butt quacks.
That's a good dad joke.
Yeah.
All right, so Mike Williams sent me and Tim and I this message. I was offered sex today with a 21-year-old girl. It's actually a woman, but in exchange for that, I was supposed to advertise some sort of bathroom cleaner to my friends. Of course, I declined because I'm a person of high moral standards with a strong willpower. Just as strong as Ajax, a super strong bathroom cleaner, now available and scented with lemon or vanilla. I laughed hysterically. Tim did not comment at all.
Oh, Tim.
Tim, look at Tim. He's got his head in his hands, in his arm. He's like...
So how is your mindset has changed? Do I even say your mindset has changed also about religion in the past 20 years?
Yeah, it very much has. I used to go to church several times a week.
Several.
I
only ever went once.
Ever in your life?
I meant a week. Okay. Ever in my life. We went to the same school.
I know. I was like, we had a required church once a year.
My wife gets after me because I'm just not as into it anymore.
Tim's very into it.
I don't get much out of the service. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm just kind of thinking like, I wish I wasn't here. My time is being wasted. I don't even like what they're talking about. And so...
Do you guys go?
Well, my wife takes the kids every once in a while. She'd like me to go more. It's important to her. So we sort of struggle with this because, yeah, I'm just not into it anymore. I don't get a lot out of it. I just analyze the situation like other things in my life. We go in and we sing these weird songs. And
as Father King used to tell us, singing is praying twice as hard.
Yes, and then I would see that.
What does that even mean?
Then I would see directly after the said service, we just kind of go back to our normal life of,
So here's my response to you.
Go on.
Some people make the argument, well, if it's a positive thing, why would you fight that? They're trying to relay a positive message.
They're trying to relay a positive message at church, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the response to that you would have?
Like, I guess, like you say all the time, is I unfortunately see in my mind some of the hypocritical aspects of going to church for an hour, instilling positivity, and then going directly back to our normal life, or the people who...
What changed for you over the last 15 years? I know religion's a very sensitive topic, but we talk about sensitive topics here. But what changed for you that changed your mindset? And was it sudden or was it gradual?
Gradual. I mean, I'm a scientist at heart, and so I'm enamored with the idea of the way...
Seth has a PhD, everyone.
The science of the world, and so...
The world?
Yeah,
what
like
else is there?
The history of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Versus the history of what religious folks like our friend Tim thinks about the
and
world.
Mary.
Yeah, and Mary. And so I don't know. But again, I just don't like filling my mind with it. It just doesn't help me as much as it helps other people. I'm just like lamenting my whole existence at church. I do
think about our existence at church all the time. I'm just like, not at church, like just in general. I'm like, what are we doing here? What is going on here?
What do you mean?
Like, what are we like? Do you see that a meteor missed us or an asteroid missed us by 43,000 miles?
Absolutely love this story.
Isn't it great?
And that no one fucking knows or cares.
By the way, and people are like, oh, it's 40,000 miles far away. I'm like, that's not far.
So I did this just yesterday. I was at dinner with my whole family.
Do you guys know what happened? An asteroid missed us by 43,000 miles.
Let me talk about it
Seth
more.
will do it.
Tim.
Seth will do it. Seth, what's your name?
Between us, you see that moon in the sky. It's 100,000 miles away.
No, it's not. It's 240,000 miles away.
Thank you. 240,000 miles away. I missed it. I get confused with 93 million miles away is the sun.
No. Yeah, yes, correct. Sorry.
Yeah, so I get that number, 93. Yeah. So 240,000 miles away. So that globe that we see is only that far away. Well, 44,000 miles, 1/5 of the distance to the moon, an asteroid flew past the Earth the size of about 300 feet, so a football field in diameter.
Was it that big?
They said they said between 150 and 450. So I'm just generalizing. Okay.
Holy shit.
So and scientists
that's a big fucking thing.
They never saw it. They have their eye on asteroids that are coming 2, 3, 5, 7 years from now, but they never saw this one come across radar. And had it hit the Earth, it would have been like a nuclear explosion into
30
a city.
Hiroshimas, they said.
30 Hiroshimas.
30 Hiroshimas.
And in the mix of political debates and sharing like memes on Facebook, it's like no one gives a shit. Like, and for me, it's like that's just incredible. Like,
we were literally, 43,000. It's funny because this group chat I'm in, the 21-year-old Mason, of course, he's going to thank me again for mentioning him. He's like, that's pretty far. I'm like, no, that's not far at all.
Yeah, 1/5 the distance to the moon.
That is so close. It's unbelievable. And it was traveling at
54,000 miles an hour.
Yes, correct. 54,000 miles per hour. Now, as it hit the atmosphere, it would have disintegrated. It would have shrunk in size. But the whole point is that was effing close.
Yes. So I'm amazed by.
And what if it hit a city? Now, granted, 70% of the Earth is water, so 7 out of 10 chance it would hit water. And then of that, how many? I mean, what are the chances of it even hitting a big city? Very slim.
Well, the water sometimes. I mean, the water does just
tsunami.
Yeah, it does much damage.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But I love. I don't know why I'm enamored with that. Like I love. So I guess my point with religion is, here's where we go back to Jesus. We're starting about religion. Good God. But
it's all about changing our minds, which we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I know the hypocrisy I'm talking about. The religion that's based, the Christianity religion, like I would look at all religions as a whole and how they all think they're all wrong, and that just never sits right with me.
What did I tell you the one time?
Yeah, but this is like, there's like, in the history of the world, there's been somewhere around
3,000,
4,000, yeah, 3,000 religions that have existed. And so, for example, you would say to someone who believes that Christianity is the complete answer to everything, you'd say, well, you and I don't believe in all of them, except you believe one more than me. You know what I mean? Like, I also don't believe that 3,999 religions or whatever.
Yes.
2,999 religions, they're all wrong. It's like,
we have one different. We have one
out of 3,000.
We're differing by one difference. Yeah. Religion.
And so I guess I got tired of like super Christian people telling me that their thoughts are correct without even reminding themselves that they're actually in the minority and compared to other religions on this earth. And so it just didn't sit well with me. So it's not stewing up positive thoughts for me. It's just stewing up more confusion. And so, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Struggle.
For me, it was a change when I started thinking about when religion started.
Yes. Versus when everything else started.
In terms of, what was the reason why religion, if I was trying to manipulate people back in the day, what would I have done? I would have started something and said, hey, look, there's somebody out there, it's just those things. Now, do I believe there's an afterlife? I actually do believe there's an afterlife, Seth. We've talked about this.
Yeah, so you and I got into this book, and we've mentioned this before, but you and I got in this book.
Did you finish it?
Well, you know me in books. I'd love to. Actually, we moved.
Read it in Mexico. Good excuse. Read it in Mexico.
But the book Evidence of the Afterlife was a non-believing scientist who proved with scientific data to himself.
Yes, he didn't prove it.
He proved to himself that there was enough evidence to show that there was an afterlife. So I texted you or called you out of the blue last week and said, Paul, we hear about all these near-death experiences, and everyone is talking about this grand, beautiful, soothing calling to heaven. And not a single person has described going to hell.
And I said?
Man, you said an interesting point.
I said what?
Tell me.
I don't believe in hell.
Yeah, you think hell's all drummed up.
I think hell is drummed up as kind of like the boogeyman. Like, if you don't do this, you're gonna go down there. If you're not a good person, you're gonna go down there.
Let's sit up a little bit. You don't look as slim when you slouch.
Really?
That's true.
Anyways, yeah, I believe. Even if you do believe in afterlife, I do. Even if you believe in, I believe hell is just made to put fear in people. That's all I believe, and I think it's. And I think philosophically, it isn't accurate. I mean, how can you have an all-powerful God and then who loves everybody, is all loving, and go, oh, by the way, and yes, we have free choice and all that stuff, but if he's all loving and he forgives everybody, then I just look at hell and say, even if you do believe in afterlife and God in heaven, I believe we all go there. I think Hitler's up there right now.
Wow.
If you believe in heaven, you got to believe. I believe that logically speaking, you would believe that Hitler's in heaven.
I guess theoretically, if Hitler was apologized for his sins,
felt bad right before he put his bullet in his head.
Yeah,
which in itself is a sin, but It's kind of like, that's the thing. It's like we have all these things. It's like, oh man, who's going to go to heaven here?
Yeah.
That's what kind of caused me to go like, oh, what's going on over here? But either way, I don't believe in hell. And so this book, The Evidence of the Afterlife, the guy, he ends it with,
spoiler alert.
Yes. He ends it with, and I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, I'm not saying for sure there's an afterlife, but based on all the evidence I have seen and all these things, my only logical, deduction is there is an afterlife.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. He talks about kids who have the same experience as people who are 80 years old, kids who can't even, who later on recount these things, and blind people who could never see, and they can see the room above them, and they can see orange, and they can see red, they can see these colors. It's like, how do they see? You know what I mean? How are they above them seeing these things, and how are people able to describe what's happened down the hall and things like that? And the great thing is, what I loved about it is, my mom gave me this book once saying, look, Paul, see, I was right. There is religion. I go, Mom, did you read in the book? It says that every religion had the exact same experience.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if you're Muslim, if you're whatever you were, they had the exact, that's the thing he likes. Like, it was all a consistent experience, which, by the way, is very consistent with what I've said of saying, if there's an afterlife, it's something that we don't even know about or what it is, and all of a sudden it happens. I'm very intrigued. This is going to sound really weird to say. I'm not fearful of death.
You've said this before, yeah.
After reading this book, I'm not fearful of death. I embrace it. I almost feel like, okay, we're going to get a lot of answers then.
Yeah, I was at a funeral of my great aunt just 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And the homily sort of included the idea that we shouldn't be sad because if we're all striving to get to heaven, this woman just made it, and this is phenomenal. Like, this is a start of her eternal life. And
I was talking to somebody recently because we talked about anxiety. Talking to somebody recently, we always worry about these things, and I said, listen, you believe in heaven? They're like, yeah. I said, okay, well, if something happens to your family member, they're going there. I've thought about that. I was like, you know what? If something, God forbid, something happened to I just said God forbid, to a family member of mine that I loved and I believe in this afterlife, I should be very like, okay, I'm temporarily not seeing them. I will see them again someday, and it will suck along the way to not see them every day and all this stuff. But eventually, the one thing in the book, only 15% of the people described a negative experience of their, so that could be the hell they're talking about.
Yeah. Oh.
But everybody else said they couldn't describe. It was like this overwhelming feeling of love. They just felt it.
Yeah, warm, light, love, happiness.
I mean, what could be better than that?
So I before this podcast, we were talking about the hypocriticalness. So I must be a hypocrite because when my wife went to surgery for our second child, I had about 4 minutes to sit down by myself and just sort of say like, well, God, if you're up there, please help us through this situation.
Listen, I still pray.
Really?
Because I just sit there and say, what I say is, I don't know what's out there. I do believe there's a higher being out there. However you want to describe that, prayer, meditation, whatever you want to call it, right? It's still something where I sit there and say, but the thing is,
I would assume you don't pray asking for good stuff to happen to you.
No, I definitely do not do that.
Me neither.
Because to me, I sit there and say, what I do is I do believe the whole, whatever happens, I hope I can handle it. And I hope that...
really?
Yeah, because I just sit there and say, like, that's my biggest fear of being able to handle something bad happening. Isn't that what we all fear? We fear the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's where my change has happened from when people pray for, please, Lord, help the Indians win the World Series. Why the fuck does God give a rat's ass about a bunch of multimillionaires winning a few baseball games when there's kids in Africa? Whenever my religious friends would say, Paul, I'm praying for you. I'd say to them,
don't pray for me.
Pray for the kids in Africa. They need it a lot more than I do.
Yes.
Like literally, just don't worry about me. If I spend eternal damnation, well, I'll pray for everybody. It's like, well, okay, got it. But pray for the kids in Africa who are dying of HIV because, of whatever reason.
Yeah, the thoughts and prayers rhetoric.
Yeah.
That's just whenever something bad happens.
You're in my thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers, like, that separates the Democrats, Republican, liberal versus conservative.
Something like that.
Yeah, mindset. Because every shooting, every thoughts and prayers, here they come. They're coming, baby.
Oh, don't get me started on the shootings, man.
Should we even?
I just want to say everybody who's anti-gun out there making it illegal.
There's 2 more this week, by the way.
Yeah, but it's okay.
By crazy white guys.
We've never proven that we made something illegal that it didn't go away. Oh, yeah, drugs. Forgot about that. Next.
Yeah, and drinking.
Well, yeah, exactly. It didn't go away in the prohibition. But either way, back to the topic at hand. I still pray. And when I say pray, we are taught what prayer is of this, like, whatever religion you are. It's Muslims, they're to Mecca and bowing, and, Christians on their knees and praying. Whatever it is, I just sit there and say, okay.
Well, that's probably what I have in my mindset, which would be a further conversation with Beth, is like, I'd rather be on my own terms than go and sing these ridiculous songs in church about that in music.
On Eagle's Wing is a good song, though.
Oh, listen.
That's a great song.
I'm coming from a family. My wife's family they don't even need to open the book.
Come on.
Not kidding, bro. You go to a funeral. They don't know the numbers, I don't think, because the numbers change. But they'll fire up a song, and Beth will look at me and be like, "Oh, this is on my dad's top 10." Like, yeah. Oh, were you there? I mean,
I don't even know that song.
I'm not. Yeah. So no, they don't need the book. They don't open it.
You want to hear a weird story about that, though?
They just start singing.
Maybe God was with me.
Go on.
I was in 3rd grade. We lived in St. Louis, Missouri, and I went to this Catholic school, and I was the teacher said we're going to have this event at church for school, and Paul, you're going to speak on Eagle's Wings. You're going to speak it. You're not going to sing it. So we went to practice.
Okay.
I couldn't not sing
Not
it.
sing.
I was singing it. Like, literally couldn't get away with it.
How old were
Finally,
you?
it's the 3rd grade.
Okay.
Finally, my teacher says to me, here's what we're going to do. Just sing it if you have to sing it. Seth.
Then you couldn't.
I spoke it. It was so weird. We get into the church, and all of a sudden I spoke it. It was strange.
Wow. God was looking down on you.
But then I thought to myself, why does God care if I'm going to speak or sing this thing? Do you know what I mean? And then we talk about the whole thing about, like, when a plane crashes and half the people died and half the people saved, and everybody's like, oh, God was watching over us. And he was like, you suckers.
Except you in 27B. Oh, yeah.
27B.
Yeah. Wow.
But listen, that could also be, I got into focus mode. Once the pressure was on, I got it and all that stuff. But either way, it was weird. I remember being like, damn, I literally could. Seth, the life of me, I kept going, on Eagle's Wings. And then all of a sudden, we're like, on Eagle's Wings, bear me on the breath, whatever the words are. And I was just like, damn.
I'm with you sometimes. I really don't know where we're going. I'm just trying to be a good dad, good person, make money, have enough money to live, enjoy life, and
do what you want to do and do it well and do it with your kids.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd love to do something philanthropic sometimes in the future. Is like have enough money and be comfortable with all the bills I have to pay.
Well, you can do philanthropic things now.
Sure.
$50, $100 a month, whatever it is.
We are. In fact, our media group, we're doing some promotional videos to help some nonprofits, and
that's good.
They're very committed to it. And that can change people's lives. Our media group, Crossroads Creative, videowithpurpose.com. Videowithpurpose.com, yeah. They did a series with a candle lab in Columbus called 11th Candle Lab, and a portion of all the donations go to funding water projects in Africa. And like literally a $57 water pump can completely change an entire town.
There's a I won't get into that actually, but people are amazed at how little money it takes to change people's lives.
But instantly it was like, once I saw this short documentary, it was like, well, I can buy, candles from the overpriced candles from the candle lab. I say overpriced because I'm always drawn to like when something's made so simply yet charged so much. I can't figure out like complex Teslas, fine, but like wax with a wick, $70. Wow. But hey, if it's a business, more power to them. I used to like be a hater. Now I'm like, love it.
Tesla, like 87,000 deal.
Yeah, perfect.
Give me 2 of them.
But but what I think that's the point of advertising is when you learn that like. Well, one company, I don't even know what Candle Lab
Tom's
does.
shoes.
Yeah. Oh, my God. No doubt. You buy a pair of Tom's, someone in need gets a pair. Love it. Let's do it. I can't wear them, but my kids love them.
Oh, they're great. I have a few pair. I wear them in Mexico a lot.
All right, guys. Well, another intriguing podcast with Seth and Paul.
When the information changes, your mind should change as well. That's especially true in investing. That's the whole bring it back to investing thing.
How lovely.
It's so true. It's probably most important in investing. Price is going to change. Fundamentals are going to change. These things always change. You have to change your view based on that. That's it. New information is going to change. It should change your view.
If you have an amazing story about real estate or investing, business building, and you want to be on the podcast, email us and we will have a sit down. We'll email Tim, email Paul, contact us on YouTube. And
Tim@learnfromus.com.
We'll have you on and talk.
We're willing to fly people in if the story is good.
Or if you know someone who has a pretty amazing story and they want to see them on the podcast.
I don't need somebody who's built a $20 million business. I don't care if it's a $100,000 a year business. If they did it in a remarkable way or they did it from struggle, we want to bring you in.
If you know someone who would also love this podcast, go ahead and share this with them as well. I'm trying to reach a lot of people, and we thank you for your support. We love you.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Paul. Bye.